So you are looking to get started on Pilates in 2025. Whether it's your New Year's resolution or it's something that you've been dabbling in a little bit and looking to get more into, there are several different things that I would love for every person who is new to Pilates to know. So I wanted to put together this video to go over those things with all of you guys. If you are new to my channel, my name is Emily. You can call me Em. I am a certified Pilates instructor, personal trainer, and I'm certified in various stretch modalities as well. Pilates is something that can be very intimidating to get started with. I think any workout is really intimidating to get started with at first if you have no prior knowledge of it, or you just have some preconceived ideas of what you've seen on social media. Especially with Pilates, it is something that unfortunately over the past decade or so has been seen as something that is a little bit more of a high class workout, or something that has a lot of limiting factors to it and is not as widely available, which is very unfortunate because Joseph Pilates, who was the inventor of Pilates, he originally called it Contrology. He was a German boxer as well as a circus performer. He did some anatomy modeling and so many different things. He was an incredible person, and he actually developed Pilates, or Contrology as he called it at the time, to really benefit the everyday person. His dream was really for it to be taught in schools so that it could benefit all of the public and just bring everyone's fitness and health up even more. So the biggest limiting factor with Pilates is definitely going to be the price point. Pilates is a more specialized certification field. It is very expensive to get certified. It is very expensive to purchase the equipment, to maintain the studio, to pay the instructors, all of those things. So it is going to come at a higher price point. However, there are a lot of either free options or just low cost options in general. For free options, YouTube is going to be your best friend in that there are so many different Pilates instructors who are teaching Pilates on YouTube. These are free videos that you can access just on your phone, on your iPad, on your computer, wherever you are at any time. You can get that Pilates workout in. There's also Instagram, which that has the Reels feature, which is really nice. Similar to that is going to be TikTok, where those will be smaller short form videos where it will compact several exercises or even possibly even a whole workout into smaller pieces. And then you can kind of take those and do your own repetitions with them, mix and match, see what works for your body, take it at your own pace without it being as guided of a workout. Some other things to consider as far as lower cost entry points to Pilates is going to be your community center. There's so many different community centers. They can be called different things. Your parks district, your community clubhouse, different things like that. A lot of them do have instructors who they may have a few reformers or different Pilates apparatus that they'll use to do smaller classes, or you could bring your own mat and come and jump in on a mat class for pretty cheaply as well. Going along that same kind of thread, there's also the big box gyms. So I know that like my local LA Fitness and Export, they actually have a whole studio in their big box gyms that you can come in and you can take mat classes that are scheduled. And those are included in that lower cost membership as well, just your basic membership that you can go in and you can take those Pilates classes. So that is something that is a little bit more accessible to the average person, especially if you already have a gym membership. Definitely call your gym, talk to the person at the front desk next time you're in and see if they also offer some Pilates classes. Going along with that, even in a Pilates studio or somewhere that offers Pilates classes, the mat classes are going to be your better entry point into the Pilates realm. Once you start getting into the apparatus, that is when those price points are going to start to increase, because the apparatus does cost a lot to purchase as well as to maintain. So your mat class is going to be your best entry point into those classes. So those would be some great in-person entry points. Another thing to consider would be Zoom classes. A lot of Pilates instructors that are making YouTube videos or are on Instagram and things like that, they do offer Zoom classes that are mat, possibly apparatus as well, although for that you would have to have your own apparatus or access to that apparatus. But mat classes are a great way to start to get into there. With mat classes, I will say if you are taking mat classes over Zoom, watching YouTube videos, putting together your own from Instagram Reels, TikTok, things like that, you do not have to have a mat. You can do this on your bed, you can do it on the floor. You don't have to have a mat. That's not a requirement. It is just something that can help make it more comfortable and give a little bit more cushion to those joints. Going into something that's going to be a little bit more mid to higher cost. So in these price points, that's where it's going to be a little bit more inhibitive of that entry, but I do want to go over those because they are really great options if you are looking to pay that higher price point. So the first one is, of course, going to be your group apparatus classes. Group classes in either our bigger franchised locations like a Club Pilates, Body Rock, the Body Bar, things like that. Those are going to be your mid-range price points. Up from there is going to be more private small groups. So you and 2 to 3 friends, you and one other friend, where you are working and having a personalized class designed for your group in that Pilates studio. Another step up from that is going to be private sessions one-on-one with an instructor. That is going to be one of your highest price point options of working with an instructor, because you are paying for that instructor's sole focus. They are just working with just you and your body. It is a really, really good way to help deepen your understanding of Pilates, as well as to see what's going on with your body, where they would recommend focusing, see how your core is activating, get tips on making sure that you're getting the most out of your workout and everything like that. They are a wealth of knowledge. But again, that is going to be a higher price point because you are paying for that one-on-one attention and all of that knowledge that the instructor has to offer you. The highest price point is, of course, going to be purchasing your own apparatus equipment. Of course, with that, it is going to be a higher price point to start, whether it's purchasing your own Pilates chair, spine corrector, Cadillac reformer, ladder barrel, different things like that. That price point is going to be the highest initially because you are paying anywhere from a few $100s to a few $1,000s to purchase that equipment, have it set up in your space, and then you could pay for an instructor to come and teach you one-on-one. You could pay for Zoom classes. You could take YouTube classes with that apparatus in your own home. So it is a much larger investment right out of the gate. Into Pilates apparatus. So the Pilates apparatus is the Pilates equipment. It's just what we call the Pilates equipment. So the apparatus is going to be what you're doing Pilates on. So that could be a mat, which is going to be your most basic for Pilates mat. I do recommend investing in one that is at least like a 1/2 inch thick, because that's going to give you that cushion. You could even go up to 3/4 of an inch, 2 inches for a really nice cushiony foundation for your mat work. The other apparatus that I mentioned is going to be your Pilates chair, which is the chair that has different spring tensions. The chair that I have has 4 springs, so it has 2 light, 2 heavy. and then it has a split pedal, but there's various other chairs that will look a little bit differently. Some don't have a split pedal, some do, some have 4, some have 2 springs. It just depends on the make of that chair. There's lots of different options. There's your spine corrector, which is actually what I'm sitting on right now. So this is a spine corrector, also called an arc or a small barrel. There are different variations on this as well. I think this one is typically just called the spine corrector. There's some that are a little bit more wooden, solidly built. Those ones are more so called the small barrel or the arc, but it really just depends on the vernacular of the instructor that you're talking to in what they call it. The other apparatus that you'll be looking at, I'll put some pictures up, but you're gonna have your reformer. That's the one you're gonna see most commonly on Instagram, on TikTok, things like that. That's that really fun one where you have your carriage, which is kind of that bed that you move back and forth. It's got different spring tensions. It's got a foot bar, all sorts of fun stuff. And then you have your Cadillac, which is also called a trapeze table, which is kind of like a big bed with these bars or just cylinders that go up and across that you can do a lot of fun stuff on. There's also something called a tower and something called a springboard. They are pretty similar, where it's kind of just one end of that Cadillac. It doesn't include the bars across the top or down the other end. So there are a lot of things you can do on that springboard. It's a little bit more space saving than getting out something more full like a reformer or the full trapeze table or Cadillac. So this is called, your small barrel. There's a big barrel. So that's your ladder barrel, ladder on one side, barrel on the other, very indicative of its name. I'll pop a picture up of that as well. That's also something that I do not have in my home studio right now. And those you can do a lot of other exercises on as well. Really with Pilates, you can take pretty much every single exercise that you do and transfer that on to each piece of apparatus and get some very similar benefits, but some a little bit different benefits of doing something on your spine corrector, your mat, your chair, reformer, everything like that. There's so many different options, so many different things. Pilates is not just one thing. There's so many different apparatus. And there's even more apparatus than what I mentioned. That is just the most common apparatus that you may come across. Moving on to props, I've got a few of them here. So the one that I really like is a fit ball, small ball. That one's a ton of fun that you can use in your Pilates practice. A yoga block, you do a few of these, one of these, whatever you want. The magic circle, that one's a ton of fun. It's usually a steel ring encased in kind of this cushiony fabric that you can press, you can pull, you do tons of different things with it. There's also other things that I don't have handy right now, like a foam roller, resistance bands, hand weights, those wrist and ankle weights that you kind of strap around like the bala bands or different things like that, as well as kettlebells. Those can be used within your Pilates practice. You can use those little gliders that go along the floor that will glide your hands or your feet or knees back and forth. And then, of course, like your booty band or your hip circle that goes around your thighs, around your ankles, wherever you're using it. That is also something that can be used within your Pilates practice as well. So moving on from all of the equipment and things that you do Pilates with, I wanted to give a few tips of what to really focus on and just some tips for your first Pilates workout. So the first tip is the most important, and that is don't get discouraged. Pilates, when you're learning Pilates, when you're learning a new workout, it's gonna take time for you to learn that workout. It goes with anything at all. It takes time to learn, to build that connection in your brain, to build that mind-body connection, to learn just everything about Pilates, the verbiage, the exercises, everything like that. It's going to take time. Don't get discouraged. Keep going. That kind of leads into our next point, which is be consistent. That is going to help you the most in your Pilates practice, being consistent. I recommend doing Pilates at least 2 to 3 times a week to really get those benefits. If you are adding it to a really robust fitness routine already, then you could go as little as 1 to 2 times a week and still get a lot of really great benefits. Pilates was really designed to be done. You could do it every single day if you wanted to, and if you have time to, you can do Pilates every single day. But at least 2 to 3 times a week, be very consistent in your practice. That's how you're going to get those results. The next point that I have is developing the next point that I have that is the biggest thing with not getting discouraged and being consistent is developing your mind-body connection. I mentioned it a little bit, but your mind-body connection is that connection of making your muscles do what you want them to do, making it move in the way that you want it to move, activating that muscle you want to activate. It takes time and consistency. You might think that, oh, well, if I'm going into this exercise and it says it's a glute exercise, but I'm not feeling it in it, then I should put more weight or I should do this thing differently. It's really about developing your mind-body connection. See what's going on. Why am I not feeling it in my glute? Am I feeling it more in my thigh because that's really taking over? Am I feeling it more in my calf because that's really taking over? What can I adjust? See how I am placing my body, see how I am moving my body, and as well, and also, am I really focusing on activating that glute, which is gonna take time for your body to adjust to and do what you need it to do. That's gonna just take some time. It's just the way that it is. It just takes time. But it is something that time is so worth it, because if you develop that mind-body connection, you're aware of where your body's moving, how it's moving, how that alignment is going, then in your everyday life, that's where that's going to come into play, where that Pilates is going to come into play, because doing Pilates, our goal is to move better and live better. So developing that mind-body connection, you're going to see, oh, when I'm sitting in the car and I'm really feeling it in my back, how can I adjust my body to not feel that in that area anymore? If I am walking in the grocery store and I'm feeling this certain thing, how can I adjust my body to not feel this certain thing anymore? Or knowing, okay, yeah, this is what's going on with my body. This is what I need to focus on, things like that. So it is a really, really huge component to Pilates, and also just to living your best life, honestly. The next thing I have for you is what I recommend for getting the most out of your Pilates exercise, or out of your Pilates practice. And that is the first one I have is finding your range of motion. You may not be able to keep your legs completely up at 90 on your first go, bring them all the way down to the floor on your first go, while still keeping that pelvis still and not having it rock back and forth, because we haven't developed that mind-body connection yet. And also there may be other things going on that are limiting that range of motion. And the more we work at it, we stay within our range of motion first, gradually increase it as our body adjusts, and as we build that mind-body connection and we build that strength, build up that muscle. So find your range of motion. Don't go all out, make these huge leg circles that are all the way wide and your pelvis is going crazy, rocking back and forth. That's not going to benefit you. What's going to benefit you is finding your range of motion, staying within that range of motion, gradually increasing it, and finding that new range of motion as you progress along your Pilates journey. The next thing is something that is in those higher cost for Pilates, but it's something that I really recommend if you're looking to get the most out of your Pilates practice, is to take a few one-on-one sessions with a Pilates instructor. Like I mentioned earlier, this is something that is going to be really beneficial to you in the long term because you're working one-on-one with a professional who is looking at your body as you're going through this workout, who is tailoring that workout to your instability that you may have going on, to one side being stronger than the other, to any health issues that you have going on, everything like that. That instructor is looking at just you that whole time that you are with them. So they are really able to give you those cues, help to make sure that you are in proper alignment, help to build that mind-body connection with you to really further your Pilates practice. It's something that I really recommend. I know it's not necessarily feasible for every person, but it is just something that I really recommend 1,000 times. I can't recommend it enough. The last thing I have here is going to be drink your water and get your rest. Make sure you're resting. Make sure you're drinking water. If you are not taking care of your body outside of your workout, then your workouts aren't going to be able to benefit you the most that they can. So really take care of your body all around. This kind of leads me into my next point, which is what I wish everybody knew when they're looking at Pilates, when they are wanting to get into Pilates. So the big thing with Pilates, especially on social media right now, is you see these mainly women who are very thin. They are that Pilates body. Well, I'm going to tell you, Pilates body is not real. That is not a thing. So it is something that you see a lot, is women who are very thin, who are doing Pilates. And so we think Pilates is a women's workout. It's something that's going to be lighter. It's something that's just working those small muscles. It's something that's going to keep you really thin, really tiny. It could help you lose weight, things like that. That is not true. So there is no workout who is just going to work just your small muscles. Your muscles work together. There may be more of an emphasis on some of those stabilizing muscles that would be a little bit different than, say, doing a back squat or different things like that. But your muscles all work together. There is no turning off a muscle, turning it on. There is also not a women's workout here. This is not a women's workout. This is a person's workout. So Pilates is for everybody, every person, no matter your shape, your size, your age, anything like that. Everybody can do Pilates. Like I mentioned in the beginning of the video, Pilates was developed by a man named Joseph Pilates. He was a German boxer. He did several different things, so many different things in his life. He developed contrology for every person. He did not develop it for women. He developed it for everyone. And honestly, he actually more so developed it for men than for women. But as he progressed along, there was definitely a lot of the Pilates elders are women. There's a few men, but a lot of the Pilates elders who were trained by Joseph Pilates directly were women. And I think that's kind of where that misconception comes from, as well as it really being promoted to dancers, because that was a really big main demographic. Dancers are thinner. They are smaller because they have to be a dancer. At least that is how it has historically gone. Not saying that you have to be small to be a dancer, but just that is the norm there. And so that's typically what you see, is that body type doing the Pilates workout. But again, it is not a women's workout. Going along with that smaller body image type, that Pilates body, Pilates is not a weight loss exercise. While there are cardio Pilates exercises, or cardio Pilates classes, I should say, they are That is going to be more of like your cardio. Cardio is what helps you to lose that weight. But Pilates is not going to help you lose weight any more than any other exercise would, because exercising in general is just going to help your digestion, help that food digest, and help your body work the best. But Pilates is not going to be a weight loss workout. You need to be adding cardio in if your goal is weight loss. Pilates can help along that journey by helping to maintain your muscle mass as you lose weight. But again, Pilates is not a weight loss workout. The last thing here is Pilates is not yoga. Pilates is not stretching. While we do Pilates stretches and we do different stretches like that, Pilates is not focused on stretching. It is a full body workout. Every single Pilates workout is going to be full body. The focus is from the core out, working those stabilizing muscles, working to help you live better, to help you move better, and just feel your best in general. Pilates is hard work, and it is something that can be adjusted and modified to any fitness level. Lastly, the thing that I want to go over with is what you need to start your Pilates journey, and that is nothing. You do not need anything to start your Pilates journey. You do not need a mat. You do not need to have special workout equipment, special workout clothes, anything like that. You can start your Pilates journey by just using those free resources that I mentioned in the beginning of the video, and just going with YouTube videos, Instagram Reels, TikToks, things like that. You can do Pilates that way. You could even check out a book from your local library and do Pilates that way. There is actually a book by Joseph Pilates called Return to Life Through Contrology. You can go through that book. He published that book, Return to Life Through Contrology, because he wanted everyone to be doing Pilates. And that is going to take you through his Pilates repertoire that he developed and designed. And he's going to take you through all of those Pilates exercises. You can check out that book from your local library, purchase it online if you want to, and just go through those exercises, and you'll be doing Pilates. There's some really great resources online, on YouTube, your local library, so many things that you can do. And you can also follow my YouTube channel for mat Pilates exercises as well. If you like this YouTube video, then please like the video, subscribe if you haven't already, and I will see you guys in the next video.